Hi everyone. Today our lesson is about making number models for ratio number stories. And our learning target is I can use unit fractions, percents, and ratios to find the part of a whole set or to find the whole. And today we're going to be doing those with number stories. So at first I want to just remind you of how ratios work. Remember that ratios are comparisons between two of the same thing. So we might have a ratio, and right now we're working on comparing parts to wholes of 1 to 3, so 1 out of every 3. And we can find an equivalent fraction to say, if you have a ratio that's 1 to 3, if you had a whole set of something, it might be a ratio of 6 to 9. So let's say that there's one boy for every 3 kids in a classroom. So in a classroom of, say, 27 kids, there would be 9 boys. And we can find that by just finding an equivalent fraction. 3 times what we say is 27. Well, 3 times 9 is 27. So we multiply 1 times 9 as well. Okay, so that's just a quick review before we get started on number stories. Okay, here's a number story for us to think about. In this first one that we do together, I'm going to model for you using tiles like we did yesterday. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to do those with just number models. So Marcus received 3 votes for every 5 votes cast. If he received 18 votes, how many votes were cast? So what I want to think about here is what information do I have? Well, I know that he received 3 votes for every 5. So the ratio is 3 to 5. And I like to write this as what those totals are, or what the parts of the ratio. Votes versus total. So these are really like Marcus votes versus total votes. Okay? And we also know that he received 18 votes. So my number, or my model, my visual model needs to look like 3 out of 5. So we have 1, 2, 3 out of 5 total. And I know that he received 18 votes. So I need to have as my pink here, which is how many he received, because I made that the 3 out of my 5 total. I'm going to make 18 of those. So I'm going to put them into groups of 3, and I'm going to make sure that I have 18. So I have 9 so far, 10, 11, 12, and I'm going to have to make this just a little bit smaller so that it all fits on here. So now I have 18, and now I'm going to need to add in my blue tiles to show the total. So I'm making these all 3 out of 5. So I'm going to add blue until I get 5 in each group. And then I'm going to want to count up how many I have all together. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So what that is going to look like as a number model was 3 Marcus votes out of 5 total, and that's equal to, so we know that this is the ratio, and then we want to find the actual number, and we started off knowing 18 over something, and we didn't know what that was, and that something ended up being a 30 total. So whatever you have on this here, the bottom is the same thing on the bottom here. So this is total votes, this is total votes. These are Marcus votes, these are Marcus votes as well. So that's why it's important to make sure that you write in what it is that you're trying to find. Okay, here's another number story that we're going to try to solve using ratios. Maria saved $2 out of every $5 she earned delivering newspapers. How much did she save from earnings of $45? So I'm going to write down, what do I know first? Well, I know she saved $2, and I'm going to write $2 saved. out of $5 earned. And then I have to figure out where this $45 goes. Was it saved or was it earned? And I'm going to go back and reread what it says. And I actually might want to take a moment and highlight or underline the information that I need in the problem. So it says, how much did she save from earnings of $45? So I know that that's my total, and that's going to go on the bottom. So this is what my number model is going to look like. I have the question mark here. I don't know how much she saved, and that's what I'm trying to find out. How much did she save? So now using this, I've got everything set up the way that I needed for it to be. I'm going to say 5 times what number equals 45. Fill that in. 5 times 9. And then whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 2 times 9 is $18. Whoops. 2 times 9 is $18. So she saved $18 if she earned $45. Here's the next one, and this one I want you to try on your own. So I want you to try to set up that number model and fill in the parts that you know and try to solve for the unknown. So 2 out of 3 pieces of candy in a bag are lemon flavored. If there are 24 pieces of candy in the bag, how many pieces of lemon candy are there in the bag? So we are looking for the part. We know that the ratio is 2 out of 3. And we know that the total number of pieces in the bag are 24. So pause that and see if you can figure it out on a piece of paper. And then when you unpause, you're going to find the number model that I came up with and how to solve it. So here's how I have set up the problem. I have written down here 2 lemon candies for every 3. So that's my ratio, is 2 out of 3. And then the part that I know is 24 candies, and I'm trying to find out the part. So how many of those are lemon? Now I'm just going to fill in 3 times what is 24? 3 times 8 is 24, so I'm going to multiply 2 times 8, and that's 16. So 16 lemon out of 24 candies. Okay, I'm going to walk you through one last problem, and then I'm going to let you try on your own. So in this problem, it's a little bit different than what we've been doing before. While I read the problem, see if you can figure out what's different about it. There are 45 students in band. 9 of them are saxophone players. How many out of every 5 band members are saxophone players? So do you see what's a little bit different about this one? In this problem, we know the part and we know the whole, but we don't know the ratio. So what we know is that there are 45 band members. And I'll just write 45 students. That's my whole. And 9 of those are saxophone players. So what I need to figure out is, what is the next part of what I know? It says how many out of every 5 band members are saxophone players. So my unknown is how many saxophones I have. So I'm going to put a box in there, and I'm going to just label that with saxophone players. And then I'm going to put my total on the bottom. So my ratio is something out of 5. And here we're just going to find another equivalent fraction. So what we want to do is say 45 divided by what gives us 5. Well, 45 divided by 9 is 5. And then I do the same thing to the top that I did to the bottom. 9 divided by 9 is 1. So there's 1 saxophone player for every 5 band members. So it's a 1-to-5 ratio. Here are your quiz questions for today. When you do the quiz in Edmodo, I'd like you to go ahead and write down the number models, and you can use the division symbol to separate the numerator from the denominator when you write the ratios. And instead of putting in the unknown, if you want to, you can go ahead and just solve right in the problem on Edmodo. But I do need to see that number model. That'll help me understand if you are understanding how to write them. So the first question is, a parking garage reserves 1 out of 11 parking spaces that are wheelchair accessible. If there are 99 parking spaces, How many are accessible? The second one, a choir has 50 members. 20 members are sopranos. How many sopranos are there for every 5 members of the choir? Thanks for watching. Have a great night.